Hello, and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at a Wobbuffet as an XXL level 51 version in the Great League Remix Cup. And we're going to have an interesting team here. We're going to have the Deoxys defense, which is kind of similar than this Pokemon, and also the Guzzlord in the lead. Guzzlord, of course, being there to counter those Dark-type Pokemon, those Ghost-type Pokemon that we really don't want to face with our backline, especially Ghost-type Pokemon, which are quite rare, and I don't even know if we ever encountered one, because there are basically no good Ghost-type Pokemon around currently in this meta, other than maybe Sableye, but like you barely really face this Pokemon. And so, this team actually has quite a lot of play, and you're gonna see it here already in the first battle. And honestly, Wobbuffet is just very strong. Like, I have to say, like, Wobbuffet is just really, really good. And it is quite mad, because, like, you would not really expect it. It's a 1160 CP Pokemon here, 59, of course. But, like, you would not really expect it. Like, this Pokemon has a ton of HP. Actually, the IV spread that I have, I kind of regret building, because we have quite a lot of defense missing, and defense is quite important for this Pokemon. I would actually have a 100% purified version of it right now as well, but I would need to build it again, which I don't really want to use my starters for right now. But honestly, this Pokemon is really, really good. Next opponent, let's see how this is going to go. We're going to have here the Ninetales in the lead. Horrible lead for us, we can swap out straight away. But this time around, I actually swap out into the Wobbuffet. Why do I do this? Because my better answer to the Ninetales is going to be that, Deoxys defense. And so, I rather want to keep my Deoxys defense around. We are running Rock Side. There might be 1 or 2 games where we're running Thunderbolt still. But yeah, I was running Rock Side for I think 10 of the 13 battles that I did with this team. And definitely is going to be recommended to go for Rock Side. I feel like there were like a team recently as well where I played the Deoxys in the lead. I think it was the Greninja team, where I was saying, yeah, okay, it doesn't really matter if Thunderbolt or Rock Side. For this team, because the elite is so weak to Charm, and the most common Pokemon that has Charm is going to be Ninetales, it is quite nice to have Rock Side. But of course, there are also like the downside of having a Rock Side, which is going to be a matchup like this one here, Empoleon. Empoleon is going to be able to, then have a better time against us, but if they use a shield on a Rock Side, it doesn't really matter anyway. And so we can overfarm by quite a bit. I make a little bit of a mistake here by CMP tying, which can be quite an awkward thing. But as you can see here, we can still go for a charge move, try to knock them out. They're going to swap out anyway if I'm not going to knock them out. And in the back, it's going to be a Poliwrath, which is going to be lovely because you can hit them with a super effective Psycho Boost during around 60% of the opponent's health, as they're going to be able to reach another move in time anyway, and they decide to forfeit. Next opponent, Chestnut in the lead. Here, I actually thought of swapping out eventually. The issue is here, if I swap out and the opponent has a ton of energy, Frenzy Plant actually quite hurts a lot against the Pokemon that I have in the back as well. While it's neutral, it's still quite chunks, and so I rather wanted to keep it is like how it is right now, like with the Guzzlord against it. But as you can see here, in camps, a Dub look at the damage. Like, it does nothing. Like a body slam, a stab body slam from a Dub that's like, what, 10%, not even 10% damage against a Wobbuffet. It is quite mad, and here the return did chunk quite a bit. Honestly, here's the thing. Mirror Coat, which we have here as well, which is the only move it normally learns, returns the only other move that it can learn through, of course, Purification, which I think it doesn't actually learn in the main series games. I could be wrong, but I think it is actually not learning it. But Mirror Coat is a horrible charge move, like horrible. Like you see here, that was a super effective hit. If I would go for a return, I think I'd do even more damage. But like you sometimes kind of underestimate the return damage of this Pokemon when you see like the Mirror Coat damage, which is like way lower. But yeah, very cool to have a return on this thing. Here we want to have the Magnezone against us, and look at this. Like, honestly, our Guzzlord is just completely destroying them. Getting another shield here most likely, or the knockout. Let's find out what the opponent going to do here. I think at this point they just forfeited. Like, I think at this point they were just like, yeah, I'm done here. This is a good game. Let's just move on. Funnily enough, by the way, right now, you can get a free Guzzlord for the Open Great League. And like that one that you're gonna get is quite okay. Like, definitely just go for it if you don't have a Guzzlord yet, if you can't trade with anybody. But if you do, like, I don't know, it's like 6 or 7 raids I think you have to do for the free research that are currently available. You're going to be able to get the Guzzlord. If you just do your daily passes, I think you're usually fine. Here the opponent was able to catch a crunch on the Mandibuzz. Very unlucky that we didn't get the debuff there. Of course, it's like 70% chance that we don't get the debuff, which we hit at this point. But still, while I would have liked to swap out eventually because we have an ABB style line, after seeing the lead, I think it's just better for me to stay in here and get rid of the Mandibuzz. Like, Mandibuzz can be quite tricky for my backline. But you know what's also kind of funny? I could also just try to decide to catch a move now, and then see if this is going to work out for us. Yes, it does, and yes, it's going to be an aerial ace, and so the opponent is barely doing any damage here. We can go for the counter down before they can even reach another charge move, and so we are in a great spot. Like, honestly, we are in a great spot. In comes the Quagsire again. As I said before, like, I'm not too worried about this Pokemon. They can go for the Awkward Tail. I don't really care too much about it. Like, that's going to be totally fine here. As you're gonna see, the opponent goes for another Awkward Tail. We can just go for the Psycho Boost spam, and we will very likely find out very shortly what they're going to have in the back. Here we want to see the Mantine coming in now, where we can go ahead and go for that Rock Slide. It's going to get shielded, and I decided to go for the Crunch. And here's the funny thing. The opponent can get so much energy now, and I just don't care. Like, honestly, what is an aerial ace against a Wobbuffet? And like, this is like the crazy thing about this Pokemon. Like, if some Pokemon has like, that doesn't have a high attack stat, has a ton of energy, it doesn't matter. And the opponent realizes as well here, like an aerial ace does like, what, 10% damage again? Nobody cares, and so we're going to be able to easily win this battle. So let's take a look at the next battle here. We're going to have a horrible lead of the Poliwrath against us. We can swap straight into our Deoxys. Deoxys is going to be able to counter them, and we can go straight for a Psycho Boost, forcing the first shield from the opponent, as we will just decide to go ahead and go for another one straight away as well. And with this, we're actually going to be in a fairly decent spot. At least that's what I thought, but they actually swapped out into a Ferrothorn. What we can still do though is we can get some nice energy here. We can just go for those counters, get some more Psycho Boost up, and with this, I'm going to be able to swap out after this one while keeping my Psycho Boost alive for later on. And this allows me to go into my Wobbuffet, and again, as said before, I just don't really care about any charge move coming my way. Look at the energy that they just stored, it's just gonna go to waste. It's like 20% for our Power Whip. I will take this. I will take another one afterwards as well if you want to. I think it's like 125 actually. But like, Power Whip is one of the strongest moves in the game, like in terms of damage per energy. And so like, I am quite happy about this. I want to go for the charge move here. Apparently it just bugs. I don't know why. But yeah, the opponent can go for an Icy Wind. They can still go for the Mirror Coat here. That is going to do like half of the opponent's health. But I can still swap out and go for another Psycho Boost. This is going to do all of the opponent's health, or get the shield, and I can still try to reach another one, which I'm not going to be able to do so. But at least I will take that power-up punch. They are not running the Dynamic Punch or the Scald, they're running Power Punch Icy Wind. And so we are going to be able to let the move go through. Power Punch is going to be a great tech move here. I actually like Power Punch quite a lot on this Pokemon in this meta. But yeah, this is going to be it. We're going to sadly lose this battle because they have the Ninetales in the back. Like, out of all Pokemon, having the Ninetales there was quite unfortunate. Here we're gonna see the Deoxys in the late. Sometimes they can actually stay in here, but I feel like it's better to swap out into your own Deoxys. Here's like the kind of funny thing about this matchup. If Deoxys has energy, Gustled is the way to go, because Gustled can resist every single thing other than Rock Slide, which is going to be also, of course, kind of common more. In this meta, usually Thunderbolt is a little bit more common, but they have a little bit more play there compared to the fast move, which is Counter, which is super effective. Anyway, we're going to see here the Thunderbolt coming through, gonna get shielded by me. I can still try to reach another Rock Slide, which is going to be able to hopefully take them out. No, we do not. We can still try to go for the full counter down, which does not work out, but I kind of really want to align myself. So I decided to use the shield here, go for the counter down, and alignment is quite key, as we will see as well. They're going to have an Empoleon in the back. And this Empoleon is going to be quite good for us, as we have counters still on the Wobbuffet, but they still do quite a lot of damage. And I kind of want to keep my Wobbuffet a little bit healthier. So, Hydrokin coming through. I'm going to try to catch the next Hydrokin onto my Gustled, and hopefully this worked. I'm not too sure, but we get the Dragon Tail in at least, which is going to be great. And yes, it was the correct move. And in the back, there's going to be that War Rain lurking. And that is quite lovely, because like this, I can go for the Dragon Claw, get the shield from the opponent. They can knock me out if they want to. I don't really care too much about it. But what I will be able to do now is I will be able to go for a nice return, which is going to do quite a lot of damage, but also puts them into a range where I can fully farm them down. And this can be kind of cool, where I can maybe get to another charge move for the Pokemon that they have in the back to just knock them out with that, because that would be quite lovely. They can still go for another move here, which I'm going to be able to still survive for sure. And so they swap out into the Empoleon. We can go for the Mirror Coat. This should be enough to knock them out. And this should be also enough to win us this battle. Next opponent, we're going to have another Deoxys in lead. We're going to swap out straight away into our own Deoxys, which is going to be able to at least go for the Rock Slide a little bit faster, unless they have also Rock Slide, which they do have in this case. So it is going to be a little bit of an awkward one, because we're going to be one fast move behind all the time. But Rock Slide is going to be able to now connect and get them kind of low. And even if they are going to be in a position where, I don't know, like maybe they want to swap out eventually with all the energy that they have. Let's see what they're going to do. Yeah, they swap out into the Steelix. That's not a good opportunity for us, sadly. But we are going to be able to now go ahead and go for another charge move. It is not going to work out for us. We're going to be forced to swap out straight away into our Wobbuffet. But the thing here is, hopefully they don't have Crunch. A lot of people cannot drop Crunch now, but they sadly do have Crunch. And so I am going to be forced to go ahead and go for a shield now, because Crunch is going to do more damage than most of the other moves that they could go for. And so what we can see here is we can go for the full farm down. We have a ton of energy. We can go for that return against the Deoxys. And this is going to do quite some nice damage here. Or we're going to get the shield. I will take the shield. And also, I am still going to be able to survive this next charge move and also the charge move afterwards. So we're going to be in a great spot there as well, as we're going to get them low. They have a coming in the back, and so sad we're going to lose. There are quite a lot of Herys here, which is going to be quite awkward for the Lostheart. In comes Satoodle, or Satoodle. It's Satoodle, like people always give out to me when I say Satoodle. It is Satoodle. The thing here is, this is actually a decent matchup for us, of course, because we have counter here. Still, Avalanche kinda chunks quite a bit. And we're kind of forced to go for another charge move eventually, but I decided to rather go ahead and go for my own shield and try to go for the full farm down. And that does not work out. And so they can still go for another charge move here. Hopefully it's just a body slam. It is not. And we are in a tough spot. But they're going to decide to go into the Quagsire, which is fine for me. Psycho Boost coming through. Another Psycho Boost coming through as well. And I just hope there's something in the back that we can beat here. But it is going to be a little bit of a day. Let's see what they have there. It's going to be a Ninetales. And yeah, that is not looking good. Especially for my lead, if we're not going to be able to somehow knock them out here, which is a way easier said than done. We're going to struggle with our lead like so much. Like one charm is doing around like what, 20% damage, which is quite mad. So yeah, that is quite a nemesis. Like honestly, like this team still worked even though we encountered so many fairy type Pokemon, which is quite mad here. So many charmers as well. And so return is coming through here against the opponent's Ninetales. Is it going to be enough to knock them out? It is not. And so sadly, I'm forced to go into my own Gusload, and as you can see here as well, the two charms that came through there are basically enough to put me into range where an awkward here is enough. And so sadly we're going to lose this battle, but it is what it is, and we can move on to the final one for today. Let's see, we're going to have Greedent in the lead. That's going to be a matchup that is quite neutral. I could swap out, like most of them are running Trailblaze and Body Slam, so I think it's kind of safe here. I don't think they're going to have Crunch. Let's find out here. It's going to be a Body Slam, so yeah, they don't have Crunch here, which is totally fine. They swap out into the Jellicent. That is not ideal. But honestly, it's kind of how the team is supposed to function. That's kind of why you have like this kind of backline. Deoxys defense is quite a decent save up in this meta, but it's mainly decent because of the amount of coverage that this Pokemon can pack with it. And you just don't have the coverage with the Wobbuffet. So having a Pokemon of the same typing with also count as a fast move is quite a nice bait. In the lead, of course, we're going to have our Gusload, which is going to be able to beat those ghost type Pokemon, like for example Jellicent. I don't know, like Jellicent is not going to have the loveliest time here, but yeah, we will see them still getting to another charge move very like they serve. We can easily survive that one. No real stress there as they swap back out into the Greedent. I just had to go into the Wobbuffet, and of course, couldn't be any different. They are running Crunch, and Crunch is going to change this matchup a little bit because if it was Dig, if it was like the Wing Attack, it would have done way less damage. And so, yeah, now a Dig from the opponent's Gligar, two of them might be enough to knock me out. And so it's going to be quite an awkward one. Shit coming up from the opponent. We are going to try our best to get to another one here, but yeah, it is not looking too good. We are forced to use a shield here. This is going to be able to shield up a Dig, which is quite nice. We can still go for the return, which is very likely going to get shielded as well here. Exactly. I cannot even talk anymore. It's quite late, by the way. I'm sorry about this, but it's quite late. We're going to see the Aerials getting shielded, and it's not really looking too good for us. At least now, because Greedent coming in, Greedent has maybe some energy already. Who knows? We will never know, as you're going to be able to knock them out before they can use it. And as we will see here as well, the opponent's Glider is going to be able to outspeed us. And so sadly, there's going to be a loss for us in the final bit of today's video. Hopefully you still enjoyed this one. Wobbuffet was quite nice. We had quite a lot of tough matchups where I still came back from. And so that's going to be it. See you then. Bye bye.